In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Celestron Skymaster Pro ED Binoculars. Now, as you can see, they come in 3 distinct sizes. This one, is for portability, the best, of course. It's the smallest. And it's also best for hand holding, in my opinion, personally. I enjoy the smaller, compact stuff a lot more than I used to. Historically, I would think bigger is always better, and it is, but only if you use it. The first one here is a 20 by 80. Now, that means that there are optics in here that are going to create 20x magnification, okay? So when you're looking at something, it's going to look 20 times closer than it would if you were, looking at it from person to person with just your eyes. So as we're zooming in, you can see I have this on a tripod because as you're zooming in, we are going to have to consider the shaking of hands and things like that. A binocular like this, it's probably best to go with a tripod right away. This particular tripod is the Regal Tripod, and I really like it. I've used it a number of times for a spotting scope, for birding and things like that, and I really enjoyed it. So given that I've had that experience with it, I haven't yet had this guy out under the stars. I plan to do so very soon as we get to these clear nights coming up in the winter. As we've got the 20 by 80 here on display, you'll notice that it has this locking mechanism right here at the top, and you can move and adjust the position of those binoculars along that rail. That's pretty cool, to get the right balance, depending on if you have a phone attached to the back of it, for example. You can attach a phone adapter and put your phone up to this and get some spectacular photos and video. Cool thing about these is they work both night and day. So if you're interested in using this for a daytime spotting scope, maybe let's say out a window, a back porch or something like that, and you want to keep an eye on the local wildlife, you can use it for that purpose as well. It's not just a nighttime only thing. Super enjoyable at 20x, but once again, you're going to need some sort of stabilization like a tripod. The next one here is the 15 by 70. Now, once again, that first number 15 indicates it's a 15x. Now, I didn't last time talk about the next number. This was a 20 by 80, okay? This is a 15 by 70. And what that means is the optical size here, the number of millimeters of the optics is 70. So it's a 15 magnification with a 70 millimeter light gathering area times, of course, 2 because you're dealing with binoculars, right? Now, as you can see, we've got these dust caps here. These dust caps are really nice in that they can be taken off very easily, but they do hang on here pretty good if you are, just wanting them to hang. Personally, I like to take them off because I think that when you take them off, it's just a more enjoyable experience, but this is nice, especially if you're on the move. The back cover is really nice as well. And while we have this part of the binoculars facing towards the camera, you'll notice that I can twist out the cup. Now, there are 2 of them, one for each eyepiece, and that is so that people who are not wearing glasses, their eyes will be at the proper distance from this lens. Now, with my glasses on, you would want to screw those in, and that way, when I put my glasses up to it, I can actually see as I would if I had the cups out, right? Because my glasses have a distance behind them as well. Now that eye relief is what that's called, is long enough on these, which is a good quality feature because it allows for some of that adjustment. If you are ever experiencing a pair of binoculars that kind of looks like tunnel vision, as experienced with one like this, where you get a full field of view, you really feel like you're looking out into a portal into the sky. It's amazing. So that ability to kind of, make it work for you, especially for me, because I have an astigmatism in my glasses, they fixed that, but normal optics on a binocular don't. And for me, what that does is it makes the stars look like little comets. And I'm talking pinprick stars that I would see with my glasses would look more like comets. So for those of you who are just getting into this, may or may not know if you have an astigmatism, I would talk to your doctors, your eye doctor, if you wear glasses. And even if you don't, if you're seeing that kind of an effect when you're looking at stars through binoculars, that's something you might want to get checked out, because the star being a single point of light is probably one of the best eye tests you could do. Think about it. There's photons coming in. They're coming from a single point source. Even when we magnify them with a telescope or binoculars, they still are a single point in the sky. In other words, we cannot see the angular resolution of a star. You can for a planet, because they're close enough that they create an actual size in arc seconds across the sky. Our moon, for example, is approximately the width of half of my pinky at arm's distance. Okay, about half a degree in the sky. And my finger can cover it up if I close one eye, and I can cover it up. So when you're looking at a point source of light coming through binoculars, the ability to have your glasses on is key, because I can keep that astigmatism problem at bay. Now I can see clear skies. I can look at all the details of the nebulae. I can go in there in the galaxies, or the globular clusters especially, pick out all those individual stars. I couldn't do that without my glasses, and this provides the ability to do that very easily. So that's pretty exciting. Think about it. And if you're not needing that now, who's to say you're not going to need them in the future, right? You get older, and as you get older, your eyes are going to they're going to adjust and change in not so good ways sometimes. So the ability to have your glasses there, or future potential for glasses there, is an amazing feature on all three of these. Okay, so they all three have that ability to move the cup. Now this last one is the smallest. And of course, now we're dealing only with a 50 millimeter optic. This is a 7x magnification. And this one, is for portability, the best, of course. It's the smallest. And it's also best for hand holding, in my opinion, personally. I enjoy the smaller, compact stuff a lot more than I used to. Historically, I would think bigger is always better, and it is, but only if you use it. And so, as far as these three sizes, they each have their purpose. You need to think about what your purpose is going to be, because each person is different. So if you know you're going to be using this a lot for your back porch, and you want to look at those birds, and you think you might look at the sky once in a while, and you're like, should this be the one I get? That's where I would say, I think so. If you're going to be using it primarily for that. The next one down is kind of a good hybrid, right? So it's zoomed in enough, right? At 15x. It's a little bit less, I'd say it's more forgiving than this one and less forgiving than this one handheld. Now, the cool thing you have about binos is that you've got to consider, right? Weight is not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to stabilization, because the amount of inertia something has, the more inertia it has, the harder it is to move. And shakiness is moving, right? And so if I'm not moving because I have a lot more mass, that's something to consider. It just gets tiring. That part, it doesn't change, right? So, you can handheld these. And if you do want to handheld binoculars, it's actually best not to hold them way back here. And I know they even have like thumb grips here on this. I personally hold them out here with my entire palms, and I rest this part of the binocular on the bridge of my nose, ever so lightly. And now look at this. I can bring my shoulders in. I can bring in my arms into my chest, right? I can go in. And now if I want to be stable, I can actually be very stable. I wouldn't want to stand like this for long. But I could be if I wanted to be. And it's nice because you can look back. Now, what's better than that is laying back in one of those chairs, one of those anti-gravity chairs. And if you can get one of those, you can pretty much lay down and these rest on your face, and there's no real need to have a tripod like that. It's helpful though. The last thing I want to show you here is if you do want to have a tripod with this one, there are tripod adapters from Celestron that you can get. And these tripod adapters, what they do is they screw onto the front of the telescope. And so there's this little cap here. It screws off. There it goes. Thought I was imagining things. Okay, now we've got a bolt entry point there. That is this bolt here. And so now I'm going to place this tripod adapter into that hole and screw it on. Probably easier to just set down. So once you've got this all together, you can then put this on the Regal tripod, and I'll show you how that works. It's pretty straightforward. So now I've got that. Look, check it out. Now I've got the Regal tripod here, quick connector and quick release, so I can unlock it. Once I've unlocked it, hang on tight, push this button here, this red button, and it releases it entirely. Now, that little plate can be taken off and put on different telescopes. This came with the tripod, not with the binoculars. So I could take this off and I could put it on another spotting scope or something, and it could be used for that, or a camera. So this is a very nice system if you have it for many purposes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this base plate off, take it, place it onto the tripod adapter. Now, this is going to be something you're going to have to figure out if you're using a different tripod. I can't, display all the different tripods and how to attach them all together, but this would work with any tripod. You don't have to use the Regal tripod, but I will tell you, I do enjoy it. And I have a number of different tripods, but each tripod has its own different purpose. And so I think this is the right one for binoculars. Just because it seems it's a pretty heavy duty one. Remember, once again, mass is your friend unless you don't want it to be. If you want mass to be your friend, it can be your friend. You just have to know when and how to use it. And that's when and how is you use it when you are trying to stabilize something. And in this particular moment, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stabilize this binocular. Now, the bigger one is even better for that purpose. It's heavier. This one, once again, a good hybrid. Let's get this off the side. Look how big they are. Phenomenal. And now that I have these 15 by 70s on here, once again, I can use that just like so. Now, while we're here with the Regal tripod, we've got a little bubble level here. We've got a friction knob, which makes this, easier or harder to use. So you can find kind of a clutch there that tightens things up when you want them to be tightened up and makes it very easy and loose. There's a secondary thing for the other rotation. So this is, any direction pretty much. And, that's not the case with all tripods. So be aware of that. It's just, up and down, left and right. So it'd be like the altitude, right? And the azimuth of something is how we've done astronomy for thousands of years. And so that's a good way to go. Unlike a ball mount, for example, could be very cumbersome with this because as soon as you unlock a ball mount, it's unlocked. Not all of them, but most. Now, with this, we also have the extending legs. I'm not going to take the time here to extend all of the legs out in the studio. The next part of the tripod extends up, and that one I will move. So it gives you a decent amount of headroom. I'm a pretty short guy. I am only 5'5" on a good day with some boots. So with this, for me, I'm, not using it very often, but if you're taller, this is going to give you the height that you need as well. So yeah, we've got the same connection on the front of the 7x50 binoculars as well. So if I wanted to, I could also put that up here on the tripod if anybody was wondering. At this point in the video, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. If you're just switching binoculars, and don't forget to put that cap back on because you're going to lose it otherwise. Don't put it in your pocket. It's not a good spot. All right. So let's get the cups back on there. ED glass. What is an ED glass? An ED glass is a glass that is of a higher quality. The higher quality usually means that it has, higher levels of transmission, which means it's clearer. It might also include some coatings on the outside of it. It stops something called chromatic aberration. Now, chromatic aberration is effectively when the light is passing through a lens, especially when under magnification, you see color fringing around objects. In other words, you're going to be looking at something and it's going to have like a halo around it. And those halos have to do with the wave properties of light. And so as the red light passes through your glass, it's going to be refracted or bent in a particular way based on the refractive index of the glass. So if you have a higher refractive index glass, which means it bends light easier, you can keep the refractive properties of light at bay compared to the blue side of the spectrum, right? Because Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? By the way, violet was actually something that was back in Isaac Newton's time considered to be more of like a navy blue. If you ever look at an actual rainbow, there's no violet at the end. It's just a darker shade of blue. And then it extends out past your ability to see it in your own personal visual spectrum of light that your eyes can see. Same thing with the red, right? It goes into the infrared. So that being said, all of that light is being concentrated in these particular binoculars to the best degree possible. And I've used these and they're pretty darn nice, okay? They're very crystal clear images. Their chromatic aberration is not visible. And you really need that when you're looking at astronomy, especially, once again, given because of the point source of stars and very specific colors that you expect to see in planets and things as well, and the moon. In fact, the brighter the object, the more noticeable it will likely be. And so daylight, these are going to be phenomenal because they have the ED glass once again, and they've got lots of light gathering power. So if you're out at sunset or sunrise at that weird hour when all the animals are out, you're going to want the crispest, clearest, most transmissive glass you can possibly get. And you're going to want as big of an optic as you can get if that's your goal, right? Some optical systems, they use multiple lenses in order to achieve this. In a binocular like this, we also have the prism, keep in mind. And the prism is the part of the binocular that takes the light from the main source here. It reflects or internally reflects through the binocular and then out through these eyepieces here at the end. And so that light transmitting and bouncing through these prisms means that these prisms need to be of high refractive index as well. And they are. They're made of a very special BaK4 glass, which I don't know a whole lot about. And I went to search for it and I found it on Celestron's website. So I'll put the link in the description below. And you can read more about the BaK4 glass if you would like. I'm not going to go into it in this video. I also really like that the Skymaster Pro lineup is all capable of using screw-in 1 1/4 inch filters that you would use for like an eyepiece. This really allows you to do a number of things. It allows you to increase the contrast on certain objects. It allows you to use polarizing filters if you'd like to look at things on more terrestrial views. You could be using things like a ND filter to cut down on the amount of light level, depending on what you're looking at. For example, the moon. With these big guys, they would be really pretty much bringing in 80 millimeters of light each and blinding you even on a full moon night. So the ability to have these screw-in filters even can help you cut through light pollution. There are some very nice ones out there. Something to keep in mind, though, when you're making that purchase is you have to buy 2 of them. You can't just buy 1. And so that's double the price, of course, for those of you who have an interest in that. So when you go to get your filters, really consider whatever that cost is times 2. We've got 3 different great sizes. The compact one that you could put up in a backpack pretty easily. This one you could still put it in the backpack, but it might get a little bit heavy. Consider that. But if it's going to be a car ride, this might be a better option here because you can, especially into a dark sky site, you get that extra bonus optical size of 70 millimeter instead of 50. But these, are your portable guys. And then this big guy probably is going to stay at home. Maybe once in a while go out to a star watch. It's each to their own. I personally find that I like kind of the smaller size and the compact and portability. That might not be you. The Skymaster Pro binoculars also come with their own individual, very nice bags. And so to get those on here. So as you can see, these bags are very nice. All 3 of these different pairs of binoculars have their own bag. Within the bag is also a strap if you'd like to hold the binoculars around your neck. Then we have the Regal Tripod up front here. And I even have a little zipper pocket inside the Regal Tripod that I use to put that other tripod adapter into, which is really nice. I really found the importance of these when I was down at the Outer Banks this past summer with all of the sand. The Outer Banks is a pretty sandy place, and as a result, these bags kept the optics clean of sand, which is super important to be able to do, and the Regal Tripod as well. I did get some sand in there from the tripod. It's unavoidable, right? It's connected to the ground. And I found that it was really easy to just kind of rinse out lightly with a washcloth, and the sand was pretty much gone. So this is the Skymaster Pro ED Binocular set of cases. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please consider giving it a like. I'm really trying to bring knowledge to our community. I'm trying to make sure that we understand the options that we have and why there are 3 different options here. I mean, it's not because they want to sell you different ones. If they could do just one thing, they would do it if it did everything the best. There's a reason why each thing exists. And that's what this channel is going to be about. I want to tell you about the science behind astronomy. And I want to make it fun and interesting. And I want to make it part about the gear that you're interested in and want to purchase. So thanks so much. And if you are going to be making any purchases this holiday season, consider using the link in my description below. It will take you to Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope. They have worked with me to become an affiliate. And what that basically does is if you make a purchase, I get a very small portion of that, and you don't have to pay any extra. It's the same cost as it would be if you had just gone straight to their website. And it gives this channel another ability to bring more of this kind of content to you. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.